This should only take about 6 minutes. I timed it. And there are 3 pages worth of sections from a serial poem titled Remains. We were stuck in a canvas of splattered days, restrained flumes of feeling breaking against buildings, digesting ourselves, growing insane from ourselves. I wanted to stand like the sea cliffs. I wanted to step outside of my mind's door and be under an open sky, be where the unrestrained sits still. In the lit hallways of familiar houses, our steps echo. I take hold of the edge of the old desk in the dusty light of a summer and breathe. Burning these flowers day in and day out is beginning to drain me. All this ash, where to hide it? Through closed eyes, I can see you arguing in an empty field. Because it's strange to be alive on Earth, because we passed each other in a room full of pleasure unused, because day after day we wait by the stage, because birds are discarding their feathers in the sea, because frames and shutters are passing from hands, because storms and calms and storms again are swerving, because I can touch the surface of a loved one's picture and make it recede, because sounds that are left arrive through distant speakers streaming out a billion burning voices live from the war, because we played cards silently on rainy days and stood on cliffs watching the helicopters drift beneath the clouds. The earth has no particular hurry. It responds to our migrations with the occasional earthquake, with bird songs that astonish our steelwork, the perpetual collapsing of the waves. Out on the patio, the lights turn on after we've stood under the sensors a few seconds. Tonight, the wind spins above us and sometimes hits an audible pitch. My materials include a room, a laptop, pen, paper, and some pocket change. I waited by a foggy road today, anxious for home. Not sure why. I was told not to let everything depend on a twist of grace, which might fall on the wrong person or not at all. We unbuttoned our clothes and fucked behind a stone mausoleum. Her hands against the cold wall, the hills around us descending in folds of grass and curving walkways in 200 years of graves. Far away, the city at midday in autumn looked faded in the sun. We breathed in small rhythmic gasps, pushed ourselves out onto the surface of our skins the way exposure made them new, allowing us to live in the delight of strewn garments, in the almost silence of the hollow air, the almost silence in which all the small collisions moving in us like an ocean could be heard. Dear mind, I'm leaving now. I hope this letter finds you. Dear stranger, whatever weight you have to give my words, I'll take it gladly to the hill behind the house where we made a small pyre. Dear driftwood, the ledge is coming. The planks of my raft have started to soften. Dear tote bag, the things spilling from your ruptured seams onto the floor, what a world. Dear men and women who dally in the starlight, your eyes already old-fashioned. Dear iris, flourish. Dear drip of centuries-old words, your black surfaces must break to let out the sounds and colors. Dear dying pride, today I wandered out on foot, saw the temples and the strongholds and the sphinxes that you left. The old man waited for his wife to die between the orange groves and the flat skies for years. The tongues of his shoes got worn by the sun and the wind and the rain that sometimes fell. I'm sorry I can't tell you of the amplified sound of my veins is what she thought of telling him, but she had only strength to suck softly on the fruits he brought for her. As much as I try, I can't imagine sitting as he did, so close to her each day, her eyes almost always closed. No noise at all in the afternoons, except the occasional goats and the wind going by, the empty room afterwards. Next to the generator box, a patch of tall weeds sways with breeze. The steel poles from which the traffic lights hang bob up and down lightly. The white freeway walls are peeling. On concrete benches, people wait for evening, for rain, for phone calls. A hummingbird floats above an empty lot. From a hard plastic bus seat, a woman looks out at the asphalt blurring by. Everything is going somewhere. The power plant's gray fumes blend into the low gray clouds. The tide is way out. blind to its own end, the hummingbird moves in eternity. As it were, as the wires we've set up begin to tangle, as everything gets spoken out of time, as we drive all night in solitary lanes, as it stands, as the struggle to stay drunk continues to the sound of small fractures, as whole buildings dedicated to particular bones collapse into decades of sprawl, as junkies read by starlight the symbols embossed on their skins, as their children practice firing without delay, as rain rattles the lake and the rooftops of the future, where the newborns who survived us gaze out at the lights. I toss and turn for hours. The dream of perfection leaves me, while the dream of good old honest failures crosses my mind. The possible burst of flight that might come of it. Though on most days our minds don't convene. We keep colliding in the hope that one day the word will match the image, but we have no pure channels through which to fall and land at the weightless center of each other's slow dying. We can sense it barely stuck in our hands, and we say that it's enough to just be close, to see you across from me, doing all the things that are worth doing badly.